Oh, boy, that was strange. Listen, happy Friday. My name's Nnamdi Osuagwu. I am the host of the Tech Behind FinTech. As always, thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to run through some interesting articles we found interesting. Some interesting articles that we found interesting, right? A lot of interestings. But we're going to run through some articles from on the FinTech side and technology side. So we like to say we talk about the technology that powers the money. I always love that saying. So we're shooting live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. We also have an Instagram feed going, so they're getting behind the scenes footage. On Instagram, you can go to the techbehindfintech.com and you can see the slide decks that we put up. You can't see that on Instagram. As always, feel free to ask your questions in the comments or provide information. If you have information that's relevant to what we're talking about, shoot it in the comment section. We'll post your comments as part of the video. If you do it on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, if you're on IG, you can go to the website and it's a feed there. I think on all the channels that I posted. Got one Instagram. Let me shout him out, man. All right, cool. Without further ado, let's get the party started. Oh, and of course, this show is sponsored by Strategic Generation, providing cybersecurity services, SOC 2, information security programs, and so forth. All right, so let's get it started. First article of the day. All right, this one is a big one. So Equifax issued wrong credit scores to millions of consumers a few months ago, which is definitely critical. It was scores released from March 17th to April 6th. So essentially what happened, you can get credit for a variety of reasons, whether it's car loans, home loans, even employment, right? So it was, I think, a 25-point discrepancy. So that's major because 25 points can put you from in the 700s to the 600s, or even in the 600s, it can drop you to the 5s. So they say the problem occurred because of a coding issue when making a change to one of Equifax servers, according to the company, which said the issue was in place over a period of a few weeks and resulted in the potential miscalculation of credit scores. It is also important to note that Equifax is in the final stages of a $1.5 billion technology transformation. So, there's definitely a lot of changes going on over the last, I would assume, few years with this. While Equifax did not specify dates or figures, a June 1 alert from housing agency Freddie Mac to his clients said Equifax told the agency that about 12% of all credit scores released from March 17th to April 6th may have been incorrect. So it's important to know, right? If you applied for credit during that time period of March 17th to April 6th or anywhere around that, and you were turned down, you definitely need to do the legwork and see, not only turned down, but you may have got the credit, but it may have been more expensive, right? You may have been charged more. So it's important to know there's currently a class action suit. So the Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday that, as Equifax was transitioning to a new technology system, it unintentionally provided inaccurate scores on millions of U.S. consumers seeking various types of credit. In a statement on its website, they acknowledged that as many as 300,000 people experienced a score shift of 25 points or more, enough to swing a borrower's credit rating from good to fair or fair to poor. So the class action suit, the lead plaintiff is Nadia Jenkins of Jacksonville, Florida, a resident who, according to the complaint, was denied an auto loan in early April after her credit score suddenly changed by 130 points, causing her to have to seek a more expensive loan. So correction, right? Not just 25, hers dropped by 130 points. When Jenkins was pre-approved for her loan in January, she was to pay an estimated $350 a month, the lawsuit says. Under the terms of her current loan, Plaintiff says 252 biweekly or 504 a month. The lawsuit alleges that Equifax failed to live up to its responsibility as one of America's major credit reporting agencies by providing inaccurate information on millions of Americans. We believe that many of the people impacted, some of whom may still be unaware of what happened, suffered severe financial consequences. We hold Equifax accountable for these alleged failures and win justice for everyone impacted. It's not the first time Equifax was faced with some sort of settlement. They had a breach in 2017, it's a cybersecurity breach. 150 million Americans were impacted. They later settled for 575 million to the federal government after the hack. So look, a few things to note with this article I found interesting. One, that's why we talk about, the technology that powers the money, right? They're going through a major digital transformation they seem to be at the final stages, but technology was to play in this, right? So something was deployed that caused this issue, right? So that's the major thing. So what are some of their deployment practices? How are they releasing this stuff? Why wasn't it checked prior to going into production? So there's a slew of questions that I think needs to be answered. Why an error like this would even occur? Like, what's the testing policies? This is a plethora of potential questions. And I'm as a curiosity, just someone in the field on the technology side. Well, I wouldn't say this is a cyber event. This is just more of a functionality event. Like something was deployed, either a part of testing was missed, something was missed somewhere in their release process, right? They say, it's transitioning to a new technology system. So it was some sort of migration, and it was unintentionally provided inaccurate credit scores. So they announced, they're not going to give the details that granular, but they said coding issue, which could be, who knows what could be many things. But it's obviously somewhere where something was being deployed, something was being migrated, and critical testing was missed during this process, that resulting in the issue. And not even the issue, it happened like over a few days. This was going on for a few weeks. Because 130 point difference is major when applying for credit, And what will be even more interesting, I see, besides just applying for credit, I see the employment aspect. Like right now, when you go for certain jobs, they check your credit, and I wonder in that period of time, was someone denied employment of the millions of people who potentially were impacted? So this is going to be an ongoing thing we'll be hearing more about for the next few months, I would assume. Because even with the settlement they did to the federal government, right? The breach happened in 2017, and in 2019 is when they actually did the settlement. So interesting things on that. If you were impacted, or you applied for credit, or you have some comments on that, please drop it in the chat. We'll love to dive into that. I'm someone, I do some. We had a show. I'm talking to a real estate developer, and I kind of listed like that's one of my my passions on the side is real estate and stuff. So I rely heavily on my credit and different things of that nature. So I know how critical that is, and a mistake like that can actually become costly, because like I said, it's not sometimes just being denied. It's like, okay, we're going to accept it, but now you're going to pay this points over what we were going to charge you before. It's just additional unnecessary fees. So that's interesting. All right, next, let's move on to the next article. So this is another one. American Express launches cross-border payment solution for US small to mid-sized businesses. So American Express is launching a new digital solution called Global Pay that will enable U.S. businesses to make domestic and international B2B payments. The firm says that through the Global Pay platform, Businesses can send payments from their business bank accounts to their suppliers in more than 40 countries in multiple currencies. Customers can also earn membership rewards for their payments. American Express conducted a survey in June 2022 of more than 300 U.S. small and medium-sized businesses and claims 27% of the respondents cited complexity as one of the top obstacles to making cross-border payments. Nearly half, 48% of the respondents, said they were looking for transparent fees and rates on par with simple user experience. So it looks like with Global Pay, they're looking to fill that gap. That's very interesting. If you have a SMB and you can leverage that service. Let's just see if there's any questions coming up. Okay, next one. Let's move on. Binance and Mastercard will launch prepaid crypto cards in Argentina. Payments is one of the first and most obvious use case for crypto, yet adoption has a lot of room to grow. Major crypto exchange Binance has partnered with MasterCard to launch a prepaid card for residents of Argentina. In a Thursday announcement, Binance said the card will allow its clients in Argentina to use Bitcoin, BNB, and other cryptocurrencies to make purchases, as well as ATM withdrawals in fiat meaning cash, wherever the MasterCard is accepted. Roughly 90 million merchants globally and online. Argentine cardholders can also earn up to 8% back in cryptocurrency from certain purchases. According to Binance, the introduction of the card, expected to be widely available in the coming weeks, was part of the company's effort to further the global adoption of crypto. Residents of Argentina will be the first in the region to have access to the cards, but the crypto exchange announced a similar initiative for Binance users in Ukraine in April and for Europe and the European Economic Area in 2020. Despite the recent market downturn, reports suggest that many Argentines may still be turning to crypto. According to an America's Market Intelligence report from April, researchers found that crypto penetration in Argentina had reached 12%, roughly double that of Peru and Mexico. Very interesting stuff. Okay, let's move on to the next one. See if there's any comments on IG. All right, yep. No comments there, no comments on the other platforms. So we are pushing along, guys. All right. Robinhood. So a couple of things with Robinhood. They cut 23% of their staff. Also, their crypto unit was fined $30 million. Let's get into it. So Robinhood cut 23% of staff. Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev said Tuesday in a press release that the fintech company reduced headcount by approximately 23%. The decision to shed 23% of its workforce follows a broader company reorganization into a general manager structure. So the move to employees says that those in operations, marketing, so the departments impacted are operations, marketing, and program management functions will be particularly affected. Under the new general manager setup, GMs will assume broad responsibility for the firm's individual businesses. This change will flatten hierarchies, reduce cross-functional dependencies, and remove redundant roles and positions. So that's the first aspect of the headcount. Now, let's go into the $30 million in fines. So Robinhood, its crypto division, has been fined $30 million by New York State's Department of Financial Services. The agency claims Robinhood failed to maintain effective and compliant Bank Secrecy Act, BSA, AML, and cybersecurity programs and violated consumer and reporting requirements. So following the investigation, the DFS says it found that Robinhood's crypto BSA AML compliance program, including its transaction monitoring system, had significant deficiencies, as well as finding critical failures in its cybersecurity program. Robinhood was also criticized for improperly certifying to New York authorities that its transaction monitoring and cybersecurity regulations were in compliance despite the violations and deficiencies. So let's talk about that before we move on. So in a lot of these cases, when you're dealing with these agencies, they allow you to quote unquote self-certify. And some people will say, yeah, all these checks, we've done it, right? But now certain agencies will then, they can do what they have the right to do a deeper dive and basically audit fully and to check to see if those questions that you self-certified are actually accurate, right? Do you have corresponding data and artifacts to support what you said? And they do that to see, okay, are you in compliance? Do you have policies and different things established? How's your cybersecurity program? Looking at in this case, it was a lot of anti money laundering, AML, like all these different things they checked for. So it seems like as they did the deeper dive, they found that what was self-certified was inaccurate. So the DFS superintendent, Adrian Harris, says Robinhood Crypto failed to invest the proper resources to develop and maintain a culture of compliance, a failure that resulted in significant violations of the department's anti-money laundering and cybersecurity regulations. As a person that works in cybersecurity, I mean, this is and goes through these types of audits and helps companies go for SOC 2. I mean, is extremely important, and there's different ways to go about building a robust cybersecurity program. So it's not just enough to self-certify. You might have a case like this in which the agency actually does a deeper dive and audit, especially when you're dealing with financial transactions. There are hefty fines. In this case, 30 million. So New York DFS also said all virtual currency companies licensed in New York State are subject to the same anti-money laundering, consumer protection, and cybersecurity regulations as traditional financial services companies. So that is very, very important to note. Look, there's various ways to go about checking your organization. You can base it on compliance standards. There's like NIST, CSF, CIS benchmarks, and various other things. I think in this case there is like a NY DFS that you can go through their checklist. But when you start looking at these compliance standards, a lot of them have similar questions, right? Like your asset inventory, like the different things that you're doing. What's your business continuity plan, disaster recovery, patch management. It's a laundry list of different things. And what's great about using one of these standards is that you don't have to do the guesswork. The guesswork is out, right? Fully comprehensive. Because even I can go by memory. I'm not going to go through every one of them. That's why we have these documents. So we go through it and we make sure that we're covered. I mean, and you can even look at it from a risk-based approach. I really like more. I mean, there's two approaches. There's maturity and there's risk-based. I think it's something that we say internally, like common sense security. It's like, okay, where are we most at risk? And in this case, is like, are we at risk of regulations or regulators? What particular risk do we have in our vertical? Is ransomware particularly high in this particular vertical? Vertical meaning your industry, right? Whether it's finance, whether it's insurance, whether it's health, whatever. Well, what are we mainly at risk? And the easiest way to see that is like, okay, what breaches have been done to other organizations in our industry? Then the next question is, okay, are we protected against those types of breaches? I would prioritize that, right? If you're living on a block, right? You're in your house, right? Comfort of your own home. And, or even better yet, all right, let's use an apartment building. You're in an apartment building, right? Then, news comes out that your neighbors, other apartments their apartments are getting broken into, right? And you start thinking, okay, well, the first question I would ask is, okay, how exactly is that crime being committed? And then the next question I would have is like, am I protected against a person doing that crime, right? I mean, it's a simple analogy, but just think about it from a business perspective, right? If you're in a particular industry and you see breaches are occurring, these top breaches are occurring in your industry, the next question is, are we protected against those breaches? Those are the ones I would prioritize when building the cybersecurity program. In this case, right, we're an exchange dealing with crypto. Robinhood just got fined 30 million from NYDFS. If if you are based in New York, this is something that this happened. Okay, how do we prevent against that? That's what I call like literally common sense security. It's like let's just think about it. I mean, you don't have to be have like multiple certs or masters of PO. All these, it's just common sense. It's like let's just approach it that way and let's do the necessary things. And once again, when you start leveraging standards, then it gives you a full comprehensive list of different things you can do to help with your maturity. All right, I'm going on and on. Let's move on because I could obviously talk about that all day because that's what I do for a living. But so it kind of hits a particular soft spot. All right, next article. I think this might be the last one, actually. Yep, this is the last one. So GitHub faces widespread malware attacks affecting projects, including some crypto projects. So this is like serious right now. It was discovered by a developer, I think Stephen Lacey. He put on Twitter, right? He's uncovering what seems to be a massive widespread malware attack on GitHub. Currently, over 35K repositories are infected, so far found in projects including crypto, Golang, Python, JS, Bash, Docker, and Kubernetes K8s. It's added to the npm scripts, Docker images, and the install docs. So he put that there. Let's go to the show notes, talk through it. So the malware attack is targeted at Docker images, install docs, npm script, which is a convenient way to bundle common shell commands for a project. To dupe developers and access critical data, the attacker first creates a fake repository. This is really interesting. I want you guys to see this. So you can't see this on Instagram, but I am posting this on, if you go to the Tech Behind FinTech, you can look at the screen we're sharing. If you look at these two, they look identical, right? The original crypto mining project versus the clone that has malware inside of it. So that's how they were getting people, right? So yeah, the attacker first creates a fake repository. A repository contains all the project files, and each file. Not only is it a fake repository, they even put the revision history. So I put it on the screen. So by the naked eye, they look identical besides the underlying malware. And they push the clones of legit projects to GitHub. For example, the following two snapshots showed a legit crypto miner project in its clone. Once the developer falls prey to the malware attack, the entire environment variable of the script, application, or laptop is sent to the attacker's server. The ENV includes security keys, Amazon Web Services. Yeah, so they basically traverse through the environment and try to get as much information as possible in some of the keys that are stored if you use like an ENV, and because once the malware is downloaded, that's how they that must be the program. Malware is actually just a malicious some type of malicious code. So what are some of the ways that you can prevent this? So the developers reported the issue to GitHub and advised developers to use GPG sign their revisions made to the repository. GPG keys add an extra layer of security to GitHub accounts and software projects by providing a way of verifying all revisions come from a trusted source. So it's using like a public-private key situation, right? So now you can actually sign that code. That can't be cloned. So it came from a trusted source rather than a clone. And the way you set that up, let's go here. So it's real straightforward to add a key, so people can know that you're a trusted source. In the upper right-hand corner of a page in GitHub, go to Settings. Then you want to access the section SSH and G keys. You want to click to add a new key, and it's pretty straightforward from there. right? And then as you check in code and repo, you want to sign the stuff so people know it came from you. Because look, this is scary, right? If we look back in this screen, they actually took a clone, and it would cause confusion, at least even to me, because look, everything's the same. Even the revision history, that's what gets me. That's why this thing is so crazy, right? The revision history even says, oh, this file was created 4 years ago. This was here, right? And so it's definitely catching a lot of people out there. So let's be careful. Let's use different if you create this stuff, so know it came from a signed a trusted source with the GPG keys and so forth. All right, that is the show for today. Let me remove this. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate it. Once again, today's episode is sponsored by Strategic Generation, providing cybersecurity services and so forth. If you have any questions, definitely post in the comment. I'll stay in for another minute before signing off. Remember, every Friday we are live. You can also go to techbehindfintech.com. That's our website. And a lot of the live streaming platforms we talk about where we stream, you can catch it from there directly on the website if that makes it easy for you, or you can go directly to the streaming platform of your choice. And also on Instagram, we do a behind the scenes shot, but really it'll benefit you if you go to the techbehindfintech.com so you can see if we post instructions or do demos in the future. You can see it. Every week we use PowerPoint, so you can definitely see the screens if you log on to the website. I think that's it for today. Thanks for riding with me. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful and spectacular weekend. And I'm out. Cheers.